Hi everyone, come on in. We are at book club number 40. It's been 40 days. We're talking about a radical awakening, and I'm going to talk about authenticity versus goodness and why there is a huge difference and why our search for goodness, especially as women, is such a deadly trap that actually makes us not good, makes us actually harmful to ourselves and others. Hi everyone, come on in. Melly just bought it. Wonderful. I'm so excited for you to read it. Can't wait to hear how you feel about it. Come on in. So we are at book club number 40, and then I have a huge announcement for those who are interested in exploring becoming a coach. I have a huge announcement about my coaching institute, but I'm going to wait to do it at the end. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between authenticity and goodness. So here's the deal, right? And we're talking about a radical awakening. It's on around page 54. So most of us women are trained to want to create an image of ourselves as the understanding ones, as the good ones, as special, We're trained to want that. So because we're trained to want that, our desire to be seen as good becomes an addiction, becomes a drug. In order to achieve that, in order to get that drug, we are willing to morph, mutate into any shape, being, persona that we can become to get that at all costs. Yes. When we look at an addict, those who are not addicts have the tendency, I think, sometimes to judge. Oh, look at that person. They have no control. And I laugh when people do that because I know that most of us are addicts. We're just a different kind of addict. We're not an addict to a substance per se, but we are an addict to a need, to a hunger. It's the same hunger that drives the addict. This one is just morphed and disguised, and especially the addiction that women have to be seen as good. In order to be recognized by others as good, I have seen so many women, and I've done this too in some parts of my life, enslave themselves to the image. The women who can't stop managing their appearance, the women who can't stop taking selfies. Sorry if you're a woman who takes selfies. The woman who can't stop buying things and going to, fix some part of their body. These women are addicts. And if you are, no judgment, just recognize that you are an addict to getting something from the external world. And that thing that we're trying to get is validation, right? Validation for being pretty enough, validation for being special enough, validation for being good enough. And when we see another person get validated for that quality that we want to get validated for, we have jealousy, we have competition, we want to put them down, we want to take away from them. Because we've been raised in a culture for this kind of approval, validation, and praise from the external world. So literally, like the addict loses him or herself in the substance, I have seen so many women lose themselves in this hunger for this persona to be validated. They will do anything. They will create fake personas on Instagram, on Facebook, on social media. They will airbrush and Botox and filter, and they look beautiful. I want that too. So no shade, no judgment. But how much do you want it? To what degree do you lose your authenticity? To what degree are you becoming a prostitute, a slave for getting validation for a fake persona, right? So we women are trained to want that validation so desperately that we lose our moral compass, our ethical inner alignment so rampantly, so extremely, that in order to get that, we will not stop anywhere. We'll simply not stop. And that is the same hunger as the addict. So, in your life right now, you have to look around you and ask, to what degree am I being inauthentic? Don't ask, am I being inauthentic? Please. We are all being inauthentic in some way. You know, we all are. It's that is not the defining metric of how far off center you are. Because living in this world, you know, we have plastic, we have this, we have paper, we are already living disconnected. The question is not, are you living disconnected? The question is, to what degree? And what do you do on a daily basis to come back to center? What do you do on a daily basis to recover from the toxicity of inauthenticity that we are drowning in? How am I participating in my own subjugation to needing validation, approval, and praise that I call the triple threat at all costs? That is where we need to examine ourselves. Not, am I doing it? No, because the answer will be no. Because the ego is asking, am I doing it? The ego will answer, no, you're not. The true self will say, you are doing it. And the true self will say, to what degree? So, the degree to which we sell our soul is the same degree to which the addict sells his or her soul. And it is that degree, that acute, extreme degree, that comes from a very gross misalignment to authenticity. You know plenty of inauthentic people in your life where they are so out of sync with reality of who it is they are. You know, I was laughing with a friend the other day because we were looking at some profiles of doctors, and every doctor was writing that they are the world's best doctor. And we were laughing so much because we were like, wow, people are really hungry to get validation and praise. People are so hungry to be recognized. You know why? Because they don't have internal recognition, because they don't feel significant, because they are invisible to themselves. So because they're invisible to themselves, they create this fake persona out there, you know? And it's hilarious. You know, now on Instagram and Facebook, you can create anything. You can do anything you want. Say, you know, you studied in Turkey, you traveled in China and helped heal, children with leprosy in India. You can say anything. So it's not that the point, the entire social media is fake on some level. That's not the point. The point is to what degree, right? So when I post videos, it's kind of fake because I'm in front of a camera. It's a little bit edited. I'm like, take out that part. My eyes look cross. Or, I'm editing. So in a way, it's produced. But to what degree? To what degree are we selling our soul for validation, for praise, for approval? I call it the triple threat. And let me tell you, every inauthentic person in your life is selling their soul for approval, validation, and praise. The addict has just given up. The addict has just given up. The addict is like, I can't do it anymore. I'm just exhausted. So I'm just going to drown because I'm never going to get it. So I'm just going to drown. But let me tell you, the inauthentic path will take you down the gutter. There is no way out. It will take you to rock bottom because you can only be so inauthentic for so long. You cannot hold it up. And that's the beauty of life, right? And as a therapist, I wait. I wait for the shell of the ego to crack, because when the shell of the fake persona cracks, now you enter humility. Now you enter ownership. Now you enter vulnerability. And maybe, I'm not so sure, you're willing to look at your desperation. So we're desperate. To me, just me, I mean, I use Amazon a lot, and I may fly Virgin, and I love a Virgin pina colada, but to go to the end of space or wherever the F they went is insanity. It's desperation. It's mania. It's total lack of interdependence. And that's why we do harm. I've been doing this thread. I've been following this thread in my talks about when you are not connected to the fake and false and split off parts of yourself, you do harm. And that's why this entire world is destroyed, because we are all not in touch as a humanity with our fake, inauthentic, lying, deceitful parts of ourselves, and we're pretending like we're amazing, right? We cannot own it. So because we don't own it, we disown it. So where do we dump it? We dump it into the landfills of the earth. And our earth is bleeding, crying, exhausted, holding the vomit of our unhealed selves, right? Our bile, our nausea, our fear is all projected outward because we disown everything. Now we're going to space. We can't get far enough from the present moment. We can't get far enough from what harm we've caused right now. So we add layers and layers and layers of fakery and treachery and trickery, because we cannot sit still with who it is we truly are. So growth is subtractive. If you're adding BS in your life, you're going further and further away from who it is you are. And because most of us are hungry for inner validation, we're hungry for significance, because we were never given that in childhood. We were never given that in plenitude. We're beggars seeking. And we'll do anything. Parasites waiting to suck on hosts, right? Fame, power, money. All this becomes very enticing when you're empty from inside. And we do harm. So Jeff Bezos goes wherever he goes. Why? We're suffering here. We need help here. Where are you going? And in going, you've now created so much extra bullshit, so much pain to the earth, destroyed so much. For what? I'll tell you for what. For the addiction within him and culture, not just him, culture, the insatiable addiction of the addict for power, for approval, validation, and praise. When you break down power, why do people want power? Because they need the other to validate them. And so in their own way, they are complete prostitutes. The prostitute is more honest. The prostitute is more honest. I mean, 100% honest. Most women who are prostitutes, and I've spoken to a few, are honest. And they laugh at culture's hypocrisy, They're like, this is our choice. And I'm not talking about the industry of trafficking, exploitation, subjugation. I'm just talking about the women who choose to do it out of whatever choice they have, that they're honest. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about whether it's right or wrong or moral or not. I'm just talking about freaking honesty, okay? Authenticity. But they don't pretend to be good and amazing and hide their bullshit under the persona of being someone they're not, right? And so cult leaders, politicians, priests, wearing the robe. It's such a symbol. The priest is the symbol. I'm sorry, if I'm offending anyone. But, there is no coincidence that there is such utter degradation in the church today. Why? Because it's cloaked. It's robed. And in order to be spiritually honest, you have to disrobe. Don't hide behind the robe. Don't hide behind the title. And don't hide behind the bullshit, because anyway, bullshit can be smelt. Either way, somebody will smell it. Now, people who are like you won't, because they'll be like, oh, another bullshit con artist. Oh, we're together. So they won't. But eventually, the farce will end. Eventually, the time will come. So in order to move forward, we need to become honest with ourselves and go, how am I being a slave to my desire for goodness? To be seen as good, to be the receiver of approval, validation, and praise. How am I being a slave to this? And how am I forsaking my own connection to myself? How am I betraying myself because I'm a slave to these three things from the external world that I will do anything for? Just even more dishonest than an addict. An addict, again, is honest. A prostitute, honest. Honest. But the ones who are hiding behind this persona are the ones who are so deeply tormented, so deeply, treacherously betraying themselves and doing great harm. And so when you find yourself that you are doing it, you need to own up. The way to heal is to go, how am I forsaking my authenticity for the image of goodness? To be seen as worthy. How am I selling my soul in order to achieve the triple threat: approval, validation, and praise? I write about it in my book, A Radical Awakening. So if you really want to live a daring life, you got to be honest. You got to shed the fake persona. You got to release the deceit and the betrayal of the self, which is so rampantly clear, but you don't know it, right? So you have to come to terms with who you are and see in the moment how you are forsaking your authentic truth because you believe your authentic truth is not good enough. The reason why people sell their soul for approval, validation, and praise, because they genuinely believe that who it is they are, as they are, is not good enough. So as long as you don't feel good enough, you don't feel worthy, you are going to enslave and prostitute yourself for approval, validation, and praise. And you will be dependent on external sources for that sense of worth, for that sense of significance, and you will not grow up. To truly grow up is to shed the false layers of your persona and to enter the raw, real, honest, bare truth of who it is you are to the greatest degree you can. Listen, it's not easy to be real, raw, and honest every minute of your time. I'm not asking you to wear your heart on your sleeve, but certainly don't cover it up in costume. Don't cover it up in clown outfits that, it's a joke. Don't wear spacesuits and go to Mars and think that, oh, you're amazing. You're not. You're a clown. You're a little boy or a little girl who's playing in the big leagues, but you're clearly so hungry. True power doesn't come from acquisition. It doesn't come from lies. It doesn't come from, making up a fake life. It only comes from bare, honest truth to yourself, authenticity. So in this book, I talk about how we women have been conditioned to trade authenticity for goodness. So as long as you want to be seen as good by the external world, you will enslave yourself to that and do anything it takes just to get that. You will beg, you will borrow, you will steal. You will lie, you will facade, you will disguise, you will trick in order to get what you will never get, because you will never get it if you do it this way. but you don't see it. You don't see it. You're on a roller coaster of self-destruction and self-betrayal. So this is where, when you hit rock bottom, that's your opportunity. But you know how many people I have seen that don't take the opportunity at rock bottom? No, they don't. They just turn it around and twist it and make a new fantasy, a new story, right? So you need to ask yourself, when are you ready to enter your true power, your bare self? Are you going to live your entire life living as someone else? Are you going to live your whole life as a charade? Don't. This is the only life you have to truly know who you are and stop the lies and enter your true self. But in order for that, of course, you need to take risks. You need to be honest. You need to suffer what that process is about. Especially the more you've lived in chicanery, the more afraid you will be. That is understandable. And that's why the addict keeps drinking, right? Now it's like a Ponzi scheme. You can't stop. You know how to stop, where to press the stop button. So it is with many of our lives, right? Now we have 3 children. Then we have a husband. Then we have a mother-in-law. Then we have family. So we feel trapped. Even though we know it's dysfunctional, we feel trapped. Understandable, because now we've added bullshit on bullshit on bullshit. Instead of subtracting, we are adding. So the stakes feel too high. The punishment feels too strong. So we just keep going, you know? And that's why the beauty of life is that it will stop for you. Don't worry. You can't stop for it. Life will stop for you. You will have an illness, a disaster, a fire, a termination, a flood. Something will happen where life will make you stop. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to have life stop me, or am I willing to stop myself? But many are not, right? And that's the power of the rock bottom moment, where we realize it's not the other person who is the cause of my misery. It is not the other person who has brought me to this moment. It is me, through the power of my causes and effects, through my gross unconsciousness, through my slumber, that I am here. And now I have the power to transform, right? But that's a scary moment. So when many people touch that moment, they immediately turn it around and start some more bullshit, right? Because it's so hard. That's why many addicts who go for rehab regress. They, the word is escaping me, they relapse because it's too painful to really go through that tunnel where they have to enter self-acceptance, right? That I am an addict. I've been a liar. I'm a real cheat. And that's why I always say I love the AA program, because part of the 12 steps, one of the 12 steps is you will write redemption, forgiveness letters to every human being you have harmed. And until the person does that work to see the pain they have caused, they will keep going on. But the main pain we've caused is to ourselves. We've betrayed ourselves, right? So that is the greatest betrayal. Who cares about other people at the end of the day? They're going to be fine. It's us betraying ourselves. So for us women, we have to understand how to step away from the hunger for goodness, step away from your desire to be seen in a particular way, and truly enter your own raw, truest self. Bare, not personified, not embellished, nothing, just you. And when you've arrived there and you feel good enough just being you, now you have liberated yourself and you have unenslaved yourself. And now you are living a true life. So we're talking about a radical awakening. Okay, that was my talk for today's book club number 40. Now, before you guys go, I just want to let you know, big announcement today. My coaching institute is open for applications for the next 3.5 weeks almost. And the next cohort, this will be cohort number 6, is going to start in September 13th. So if you want to be a conscious parenting coach and be trained by me and get certified by me, then go to my website, drshefali.com, and go to Institute And maybe you'll discover a whole new purpose. Maybe you'll discover a whole new path. I train hundreds of parents, non-parents, professionals, non-professionals to be trained in my conscious parenting method. And I train them on how to do conscious parenting so that they can become a coach. So it's a wonderful program. It's 5 months. It's all online. Go check it out. And if you're interested, there is a prerequisite course that you have to take soon. So jump on it and let's have you join the movement to become a conscious parent. Doors are open. Go to my website, go to Institute. Doors are open till August 23rd. Deadline to apply August 23rd. Get started on your prerequisite, and the course, the next cohort number 6 starts September 13th. Bye guys.